My Hero Ultra Rumble is the latest free-to-play Battle Royale game to come to the Switch. Now it's based of course upon the popular manga and anime of the same name, and it is potentially a great use for this universe. The question is, however, can this game hold its own against genre giants like Fortnite, or is it one you should skip? Let's get into it. My name's Alex, this is SwitchCorner, and if you do enjoy this video, consider subscribing, it helps out the channel a huge amount. My Hero Ultra Rumble then is a team-based Battle Royale game. Now as seen in many entries in this genre, it is launched with a relatively light selection of gameplay modes. In fact, it's primarily just one mode where 8 teams, each made up of 3 players, go to war. The last team standing is ultimately crowned as the victor. So the gameplay options against other online players, it's basically divided into 2 options, that's ranked and unranked categories. For those who do prefer to play solo, they can also engage then in these modes with bots. That is actually quite a nice addition, it's very good for kind of training up and learning the basic mechanics. Now the game then offers a roster of 18 characters, however it's worth noting that 13 of these characters are locked behind a form of in-game currency, requiring either grinding or payments to unlock. You can only then use each character once as well within a party, you cannot have any sort of duplicates. The gameplay loop then will be nothing you haven't seen before. It's the last team standing wins and the map gradually gets smaller as the timer ticks away. There is no specific time limit for these matches, but they are going to be over extremely quickly. I did find it unique that when heading into a battle, however, you do choose a starting location. Now that's pretty common, but what I didn't expect was the game actually shares your location with all the players once it is locked in, so you can immediately see if you're dropping into an absolute war zone. Where I do think this game stands out, though, it's going to be a pro and a con. In fact, it's the relatively smaller world compared to many others we've seen before. Now, this is logical given that the combat is designed for close quarters. It's blending really melee attacks and then short-range specials. They are known as quirks. Now, these quirks can really make or break your character in battle as you scavenge the battlefield looking for items that can either level these up or even replace them. In addition to this, each character possesses a special move that charges up and offers something unique for a brief burst. It's quite a sight to see a character transform into a giant form, proceeding to pummel everyone in sight. Now, of course, when I tried it, I missed absolutely everyone. I was standing in the middle of a tree, but it's definitely a very unique thing to see when you are, battling it out. Apart from those quick upgrades, then you will also find various sizes of healing and shield items along with enhancements such as capacity increasing backpacks. What I really appreciate is that the items aren't merely housed in typical crates, they're also going to be hidden within the environment, and also you'll encounter pedestrians in need of rescue. In my experience, they do tend to possess the most valuable items if you can spare a moment to aid them. Should you fall in battle, then it's not necessarily the end. Your team has a brief revival window, given your opponents do not of course defeat you while you are down. Now when you do die, you do drop a card. If your teammates collect this and find the correct revive card on the battlefield, they'll be able to bring you back into the fight. Although I do like this idea, I would have preferred a typical revival station. The current mechanism requires you to access the pause menu, which really feels unusual when you're in the midst of an online battle. So how does it feel to play? And here's where I'm having an issue. First of all, I'm not the best at this game, to the point where I might as well rename my handle to Cannon Fodder. However, I don't believe the fault lies entirely on me. The controls feel slightly unresponsive, and the targeting is just incredibly tricky. With many flashy animations as well, it can be tough to discern what is happening during moments of, concentrated player activity. Despite this though, the moves are a great reflection of the anime, which is of course a major plus. However, it feels as though mastering these moves will require more practice than, let's say, a traditional Battle Royale game with guns, because, we're all kind of used to that process, but I've been having some difficulty with things like just recognizing when my attacks are connecting, or even just the jump mechanic here. It feels delayed because there's actually a short run-up animation preceding each jump, and that really does throw me off a bit. When it comes to the performance, the game is mostly stable. However, there are noticeable slowdowns when the action does intensify. I wouldn't say it's major drops, but you'll definitely notice it. I also found a few locations, particularly on top of a mountain, where the frame rate does struggle a bit. On the flip side, the visuals are far from disappointing. The resolution can be a little soft. There is, of course, pixelation. There's also some popping as well in the distance, but I've definitely seen far worse. Moreover, the effects of these issues are mitigated due to the game's nature of close quarters combat. If you're playing, let's say, Fortnite, a sniper rifle in hand, that's going to prove problematic. Here, because the action is kind of in your face, even when a character, let's say, pops in, you've still got more than enough time to react. Additionally, you'll find that some of the environments here are destructible. That adds a nice dynamic element to the world. I found a character hiding behind a house, and I basically just went ahead and destroyed it. Note though here, as I said, this map is small, and it's actually the only one available at this moment. It's already starting to feel a little bit monotonous, so updates with changes, they need to be frequent in my opinion to keep people coming back. Microtransactions are of course in this game, and yes, they are aggressive. They actually fall into the realm of gacha games. You are buying tickets for spins rather than purchasing, let's say, characters or cosmetics outright. To use a spin, you're going to require 10 tokens. Now these tokens can be collected through an extremely slow-paced free season pass, but naturally there's going to be an option here to buy them. Now none of these in-game offerings come cheap, and personally I would advise against spending on them. You know, ideally having the choice to just purchase a character and pay a flat fee of, let's say, $10 would be a much fairer approach to this system. I do hope this can change in the future with updates. It's also important to discuss then the existence of character tickets. Despite being reasonably priced, their function is disappointing as they are only good for a single use of a character. That is weird to me. Paying 300 crystals for a single go with a character, yes, that is cheap, it's maybe 50 cents or so, but it's still taking things just a little bit too far in my opinion. To give you an overall idea of the pricing here as well, around 10 spins cost 8,000 crystals. Frustratingly though, purchasing bundles of crystals does not align with this pricing structure. They just always do that. So instead of allowing you to buy 8,000 exactly, you're going to be required to buy around 10,000. That's going to set you back a solid $20. There is a premium season pass as well that comes separately, and that's going to be retailing at $10. Thankfully, the one perk of the microtransactions, this game does not fall into pay-to-win category. The purchasable content extends to characters, cosmetics, voice packs, and banners. They're small profile cards that you can display while taking your character online. Again, I'll say it, the pricing is aggressive, but you can avoid it entirely. So if you're wondering about my opinion on My Hero Ultra Rumble, I'd describe it as fine, I guess. It's a somewhat unique spin on the Battle Royale formula, primarily due to it leaning into close quarters combat. However, it is held back by a number of issues. The aggressive microtransactions, just that gacha approach, I'm not a fan. A regrettable lack of content. You know, the game features only one mode. Teams are free battling it out on a compact map. I'm just not convinced at this point it is going to keep the audience engaged. You know, just do me this one favor. If you are considering investing any money into this game, picking up some of this cosmetics or characters or whatever it may be, just try it for a couple of evenings first. See if it holds your interest long enough to avoid that early burnout. No score on this one. It is free to download, nothing for you to lose here, and I do think it's worth giving a shot. It's also free of any pay-to-win elements, which means you can jump in and you'll be on a level playing field with everyone else. So give it a shot, see how you feel. The only other thing I will add to close out then is I can't see any mention of crossplay, so I do believe this is Nintendo Switch only currently, and whether that's maybe coming in the future, I will update that in the pinned comment down below. Also, there's no motion controls. I know that's going to be a question in the comments. I would have liked to have seen that for some of the targeting options. You can actually kind of almost aim with the left trigger, but unfortunately they haven't chose to include it. So with that, will you be checking out My Hero Ultra Rumble? Let me know in the comments. With that then, hit subscribe, join us here for reviews, deals, news and lists daily, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.